Hi, Dennis Weiss, Eagle Communications. Welcome to our town. I bet you can tell where I'm at today. Bob Jenkins, Rolling Hill Zoo, Executive Director, and it's snowing outside, Bob.
Yeah, we're at least up to 5 inches, might be pushing 6 or 7 by day's end.
So when Linda sent the little list and it said, talk about the differences of the zoo in the winter, boy, did you set it up good for us today.
Well, you know, we aim to please. That's all there is there. But yeah, it's the last couple months we've been getting ready for the winter season. It caught us a little bit off guard today, but essentially about 2 months ago we started going around winterizing places, checking water lines, turning things off here and there. But when it comes to the animals, making sure that their heaters work, that's one of the big ones.
Sure.
Turning those on and off where they're needed. And other ones, loosening things up so they can get out more.
Okay.
Because some of them really enjoy the winter.
So there will be people who remember the last time we were together talking, and they will remember we were in front of the giraffes, and they will remember the rhinos. So what is giraffes do in the winter?
They'll be inside. It's too wet, it's too slippery. Big, long-legged, they could splay, you know. So they stay inside where it's nice and dry. Okay. Rhinos don't like the winter, you know. They're
How do you have a mud hole for a rhino in the winter, Bob?
You don't. You don't. But tigers, Amur leopards, cougars, snow leopards, whatever, they love it. And they're out there.
I'm sure.
Particularly since our tigers are Amur tigers from Siberia, what have you. They really go for it.
They're probably just flexing their muscles thinking, hey, weather finally got nice.
Yep, they're out there very, I don't think they're building snowcats, but they're having a lot of fun.
Well, the cougar has to be about the same. We still have a lot of cougars where I grew up, southwest Colorado. Mountain lion vernacular out there.
Right.
The winter's their time of the year.
Oh yeah.
Hunting is game's concentrated. Everything works better for a mountain lion in the winter.
Yep.
Okay.
I would say that's true.
And you have a new one.
We have a new one. We brought in a new female cougar about 3 weeks ago now. Her name is Beuka.
Okay.
Beuki. I'm sorry. Beuki.
Beuki.
What have you? And that's, I'm told, is Arapaho for cougar.
Okay.
Very
that
original.
Makes sense. Yeah. And she came from?
She came from the Lincoln Park Zoo, but she's actually a rescue cougar from Wyoming, where she was orphaned as a cub.
Very cool. So you have any goals of having some baby mountain lions around here one of these days?
No, she's been neutered.
Okay.
And because of the breeding programs that we work in, she has unknown parentage because she's an orphan.
Right.
So we don't want to take the risk of introducing disease problems or physical problems in the population.
So interesting. We're here to talk about Rolling Hill Zoo, and you're already talking about science because you're a science kind of guy, right? It takes a lot of science to make this place work properly. I don't think about that, and our viewers probably don't think about that. I would have never thought, well, you're worried about the DNA of a mountain lion. You know, what's the odds? Well, they must be good enough that you'd be concerned about it.
Oh, absolutely. And the reason is that we're part of 233 other facilities around the United States, and we treat our animals as one collective population between all of those. So our Amur tigers, for example, are part of a collective 250, 300 tigers around the country.
Okay.
And through the species survival program centered in Lincoln Park in Chicago, they run computer algorithms that tell us how well represented this tiger or that tiger or this tiger is in the population. And so tigers move up and down in the breeding hierarchy. The higher up you go, the more valuable you are to the population.
So we're here to focus on Rolling Hill Zoo in the wintertime, but I can't help but grab onto something you led me into last time, is that the aim of Rolling Hill Zoo is to give me and people like me a great place to come and visit. It's kind of a symptom, really. Okay. The real thing is to raise awareness about the animals you have here and to ensure their survivability in their native wild habitat.
Exactly. And we participate in a program run by the Association of Zoos and Aquariums called SAFE, Saving Animals from Extinction. And so we're working on that. And so what we do is, it's not quite tricky, but what we do is we lure you in with the promise of seeing something exotic, And then while you're here, kind of stuff a few things information in the ear, you know, and that kind of thing. And then you'll take that home. And the philosophy is kind of like you have to move the heart to engage the head to make the hand do something.
Well, that's the way humans are wired, Bob.
That's right.
That's just the way it works, right?
That's right.
Okay.
And so the whole idea is to get people involved in helping to save animals around the world.
The other animal I'm sure people watched pretty closely when we were here last is your orangutans. Mm-hmm. How do they like winter in Kansas?
You know, they're from Indonesia.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, we're not quite too sure about that. A lot of it gets down to individuals, both with chimps, orangs, and other animals like that. Some like it, some don't, et cetera. Not unlike dogs.
Sure.
You know, some like to go out, other ones
they're
don't.
in and out in the winter.
Yeah, they have access if they want to go out. But at some point, we keep them in because it's just too cold.
Okay. Well, people who want to come to the zoo will know whether it's too cold too, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yep, but they can dress up for
it. They can. So let's tell the story again. I'm always cognizant that there are people watching that haven't watched ever before, so they didn't see our last show. We're at Rolling Hill Zoo. We're just west of Salina. How is Rolling Hill Zoo here?
Rolling Hill Zoo was a vision of an individual by the name of Charlie Walker. And Charlie Walker was raising Belgian draft horses in a huge barn, which still sits on the ground here, 25 or so years ago, raising the horses there. And then he made a big mistake. He got a llama. And before he knew it, he had a lion. And then he had a giraffe.
There you go.
And he started down this road. And I'm here to tell you, because I've been in this profession for 48 years, once it gets in your blood, it doesn't leave. And that's what happened to Charlie. And so before he knew it, 20-some years ago, he built a zoo. And this next year will be our 20th anniversary
of being Rolling Hill Zoo.
Being Rolling Hill Zoo, being open to the public, and we'll be doing a special exhibit here celebrating that and giving the whole history of the zoo, how it came about, when the first animals arrived, etc., and then potentially even looking at lifting the curtain a little bit on what the future might be.
Oh, very cool. That's going to be great. Great stuff. Okay, so we're in an area that's nice and warm. Nice and moderate temperature, I should say, that we haven't talked about yet. This is a huge building at the top of the hill. Right. It is filled with animal exhibits, and it's really, in my mind, one of a kind in the Midwest.
Well, you couldn't be more right. This is probably one of the best, most, what would the right word be, most interactive taxonomic displays around. Charlie understood that we would not be able to display everything. You know, the zoo's not that big. And so what he did is he went out and found people who had collected taxidermy specimens, brought them to Salina. There were at least 35 semi-truckloads that came here, et cetera. And he set up the Wildlife Museum, part of which you see behind us. And the whole idea is to have these individual cutouts, if you will, from nature that show how animals actually look in nature. So you'll see a lot of animals, some of which you won't see at other zoos here while you're here. Right. It's a very unique aspect.
I think it's outstanding. So to be fair about it, we're in front of the moose because my wife loves moose. And so she'll get to watch this and see
There you go.
She grew up in New Hampshire. How can you not like moose if you're from New Hampshire?
Right.
So, but it has a very authentic display.
Yes.
Like you would see it in the wild.
Exactly.
So, short one thing. There's no squirrel in that tree. How can you have moose without squirrel?
Did you look closely?
Is he in there?
You could be.
Okay.
The secret of this is people walk through and they say, oh, it's wonderful. But they're looking at all the charismatic megavertebrates.
Well, I saw the bee's nest, but I didn't see squirrel.
The place is littered with all kinds of birds and small animals like you would see in the wild.
Okay, Dave.
Representative.
We have to search that tree and see if we can find the squirrel. We will.
Well, let me know if it moves because it's not supposed to
move. Well, So across from us, white-tailed deer, Rocky Mountain elk, a porcupine, which is kind of cool.
Oh yeah.
we have porcupine in Kansas, not many, but we have them here. In Colorado, where I grew up, we had a lot of porcupine, and they have two skunks over there who are coloration is different from what I saw growing up. So, don't know.
There's a couple different kinds of skunks in this
I
part of the
figured
world.
you could tell me.
Because there's a whole other skunk family around the corner over there, 2 adults and 3 little ones.
These smell quite a bit better, Bob.
Well, I don't think anything here smells that bad.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. We used to run the other way.
Yep.
Okay, so we're in just a small little piece of this building, and if Dave panned left and right, the people at home would see so many things they probably haven't seen in a long time.
But when you come here, you're going to start out at Africa, walk through the plains and the savanna of Africa. You're going to end up moving through there into North America, around here, up into Canada, into the Arctic, so to speak, moving around into the tundra, ending up in Asia, etc., and then ultimately India. So basically you can circumnavigate the globe here.
And if you've watched the programs on TV that have walrus in it, and you think they're really big, you should come here and stand pretty close to the fence and see how big those walruses really are.
Well, that
immense beast.
That points out a difference of this facility as to opposed to everywhere else. Basically, everything would be behind glass, so that you have this wall between you. We don't have that. It's very, very unique. So
you're right
when you look here at the moose, the one over there, you're about that far from, so to speak. So you really get a sense of how big and wonderful, or how small animals can be.
What else do you have going on this winter that people might need to know about?
Oh, we've got quite a few things. December, we are going to have 3 times the number of Christmas parties here than we've ever had in the past.
We forgot.
Conference center is going to be totally full. It's going to be totally full, but in one of those events is Cookies with Santa,
where
kids sign up for it, and it's filling up fast. Basically, you come in, you get this giant cookie that you get to decorate, you get to write a letter to Santa Claus, engage in other things. There's a story time, sing-along time, and then there's a visit from Santa and Mrs. Claus at some point, so to speak. And that happens 4 times in one day.
Well, let's put a plug in for further in 2019. Your conference center portion of this building, Eagle has used for the purpose of having a business conference here. It was outstanding.
Oh yeah.
And the hospitality was great. The location was great. We could stretch our legs in here because we had tickets that came with the conference.
That's right.
So you have a business that needs to have a conference. This is a great place.
Oh yeah. And we've done everything from like 12 people meeting to a 1,400 person event, which takes place not only here in the conference center, but also throughout the entire zoo.
Okay.
So we're very, very flexible in the way we go about working these things.
Was this running while Charlie was still with us?
Oh, yes.
So, second question. I assume Charlie thought well of having a conference center for business in one end of a magnificent museum like this, because Charlie Walker's business plus Charlie built this.
That's right, exactly. And so basically he wanted the entire facility, not just the museum and the conference center, but the entire facility to be for the people. That's why it's a nonprofit organization, et cetera. We have a foundation that's geared towards that. And we're doing everything we can right now to make sure that the people of Salina and the people of Saline County, where we're located, know that it's their zoo.
Very good.
Their zoo. And we're here for you. We're here for all of you and all of our visitors, including those that we get off I-70.
What's attendance look like? What is considered an off-season for a zoo in the fall, winter, early spring in Kansas?
Well, 2 years ago, regardless of the amount of snow or the amount of rain we had, we never had a single day without a visitor.
Is that right?
Now, last year there were 2 days that we didn't have visitors.
Okay.
But that's because it was just too bad. We didn't have many staff here either, so to speak. But an off day would be 100 or 150, so to speak. And that's one of the better times to see the facility because basically you got it to yourself.
Fall is my favorite season of any of all because it's the most pleasant time for me to be outside. I enjoy the fall. The bugs have went to sleep. The weather is moderate.
Yep.
Animals are normally more active in the fall than they are in the summer. They'd rather lay in the shade. But this is the Flint Hill area of Kansas. Just being outside in it in the fall, if there were no zoo here, is a privilege and a blessing. But with the zoo and all the things there are to see, wow, that's a great day.
Oh, it is a great day. Absolutely fantastic. But unfortunately, fall, you missed it.
I missed it.
Winter arrived today.
Well, maybe it'll come back tomorrow. This is Kansas, right. Bob.
Oh, it is.
It could be 70 tomorrow. We'll break out those short sleeves.
If you don't like the weather, wait 5 minutes.
Wait 5 minutes. All right. So I think of programs. I think of some of the things we talked about last year, how you're integrating the arts into an outreach program. Again, it's an outreach program to people in the arts, but it brings people here.
Oh yeah. We in September we had Art Gone Wild project. They came out. Artists came in, and they basically engaged in plein air art creation while they're here at the zoo, using the zoo as their model, so to speak. That's art. Art is on display in our Bain Gallery right now, along with a bunch of other art, et cetera, that's all geared towards animals. And
how was that attended?
That was attended very, very well. We were pleasantly surprised because sometimes art events are a little difficult to sell, but because I think of the location, it helped really.
I'm sure it helped them too. You know, we're in the business. Both of us are in the business of putting people in places so they hand dollars for tickets.
Right.
As you look at that, you're always looking for another idea. Well, I'm saying this because you're here working for Rolling Hill Zoo and you have a mission, but that group of artists who also benefited by being at Rolling Hill Zoo, while their mission is different, the
synergy
working together in Kansas works every time it's tried.
Well, absolutely, and that's one thing that the zoo really likes to engage in. For example, in this month we'll be starting what is a brand new project done in conjunction with Dane Hansen Foundation.
Okay.
We have created this Zoo to You program where we'll be taking our traveling zoo program, not just in the local area, but going north and then northwest and hitting all the schools out there in the remote regions. Yes.
How does that work?
Basically, we have
a truck with what in it?
We do. We managed to secure from MacArthur Ford here locally a van that they have donated for the duration of the project. Two educators get together. They've got their materials to get those boxes together, and then they get live animals that all go into the truck. And then that truck, actually it's a big van, takes off and goes to the facility. And while they're at the facility, they can do 2 or 3 schools in one day.
Okay.
So the key here is Dane Hansen, who their mission is to take care of Northwest Kansas, North and Northwest Kansas. They're fulfilling their obligation that way. In partnership with us, we're getting our message out there and education as well.
Terrific idea. It's just a simple fact. Not everybody has the flexibility to, anytime they want to drive to Salina to Rolling Hill Zoo. And in fact, it's a sad fact of life, but there are people within our driving distance that probably never heard of Rolling Hill Zoo.
Oh, yeah.
This is an effort to help with that.
Yep.
But that is taking who you are to them, to introduce them not only Rolling Hill Zoo, but the whole idea that you've talked about already in this little show.
All the messages that go along with it, that kind of thing. And then we can tailor-make the program to the interests of the individual school or the individual class, et cetera, so as to help them meet their STEM requirements as well as meet some of the other requirements that they may have for their students.
So what do you think is Kansas's best species survival story?
Best species survival, the best right now?
The best.
The most challenging, but probably the most successful at the moment is the black-footed ferret.
Okay.
Okay, controversial program,
Right.
very controversial, etc. But it is successful where it's allowed to work and allowed to work with farmers, ranchers working together to make it happen.
Sure, has to.
There it is. That's the only way it'll work.
What region of Kansas is centered on the black-footed ferret?
Basically, us west,
Okay.
so to speak. Our vet goes out at least once or twice a year to help in the survey team for the ferrets, and she does the physical examinations when they trap them and what have
Okay.
you, to make sure that the dysentery and the distemper is
Okay.
absent from the population, etc.
Well, we're down to 2 minutes, and when you said black-footed ferret, I have another 30 minutes of program I could just talk about prairie dogs
absolutely.
and black-footed ferrets. So we're going to have to do that.
Okay, we'll do that, but I'll tell you this, we'll get a couple people on here that know it better than I do.
Bob, if they know it better than you do, how am I supposed to keep up?
That's the whole point.
You're stretching me already. Okay, so we had a great time.
We did.
We're sitting in front of the moose, which my wife's going to love, but so would anybody else that walked in here and looks, and they go, holy mackerel, they're huge. You're so close to the taxidermy here. These animals were alive at this size, and they're here. And it's just a great portion of what Rolling Hills Zoo does, but it's a super place to come in the winter, Bob.
Oh yeah, you can come here in the winter, you can come here in the summer. There's always something to see, there's always something to do, and there's always something to learn.
Okay, boy, that's a great ending, Dave. We're going to stop right there. Bob, thanks for the work you
pleasure.
do here. Really appreciate it.
Well,
I know Charlie would be well pleased.
Yep, well thank you for the opportunity to share it.
Okay, all right. I'm Dennis Weeks. I work for Eagle Communication. Bob here, he works for everybody that ever wanted to see a zoo or an excellent exhibit like is in this museum. Works here every day with a great staff. They have a great place. You need to come to Rolling Hills and enjoy it. Have a great day.